Good evening and a very warm welcome to members, guests, on and offline. You can't imagine how happy we are to see you all here today. And we look forward to better times. It's a pleasure to have you all join us for a rib-tickling and fun evening today, presented by the Madras Players. The Madras Players is an Indian amateur theatre group and is the oldest English language theatre in Chennai. They have staged over 240 theatre productions over the span of more than 50 years. Today's production, Poems and Plays, is specially curated for the Duchess audience by directors Tehzeeb Katari and Shaan, Libby. The cast consists of Madras Players members, veteran actors, and some more recent. Without further ado, I would like to invite Shaan to take us through this delightful and entertaining evening, presenting to you Poems and Plays by the Madras Players. A round of applause, ladies.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you to the Duchess Club for inviting us to do this. So I'm Shaan and I'm Tehzeeb. So we've had a lot of fun putting it together. Thank you to Neena Reddy for inviting us, and thank you to Anuradha Sachdev and to Sujata Mundra and everyone else who's been involved. So we've all, you'll meet the whole cast at the end, and we would like to just say that we hope you will stay till the very end. It should be about an hour. Should be about an hour. So we'll go through and see you at the other end.
Good evening. We will begin the evening with Cinderella by Roald Dahl. Cinderella will be played by Roshan Poncha, Prince Charming by Rohan Natarajan, the Godmother by Ameera D'Costa, and the narrator will be played by myself, Tehzeeb Katari. I guess you think you know this story. You don't. The real one's much more gory. The only one, the one you know, was cooked up years and years ago and made to sound all soft and sappy, just to keep the children happy. Mind you, they got the first bit right. The bit where, in the dead of night, the ugly sisters, jewels and all, departed for the trumpet ball, while darling little Cinderella was locked up in a slimy cellar, where rats who wanted things to eat began to nibble at her feet.
She bellowed, "Help! Let me out!"
The magic fairy heard her shout. Appearing in a blaze of light, she said, "My dear, are you all right?"
"All right," cried Cindy. "Can't you see? I feel as rotten as can be." She beat her fist against the wall and shouted, "Get me to the ball. There is a disco at the palace. The rest have gone, and I am jealous. I want a dress, I want a coach, and earrings, and a diamond brooch, and silver slippers, 2 of those, and lovely nylon pantyhose. Done up like that, I'll guarantee the handsome prince will fall for me."
The fairy said, "Hang on a tick. She gave her wand a mighty flick, and quickly, in no time at all, Cindy was at the palace ball. It made the ugly sisters wince to see her dancing with the prince. She held him very tight and pressed herself against his manly chest. The prince himself was turned to pulp. All he could do was gasp and gulp. Then midnight struck.
She shouted, "Oh, heck! I've got to run to save my neck."
The prince cried, "No, alas, alack!" He grabbed her dress to hold her back.
Cindy shouted, "Let me go!" The dress was ripped from head to toe. She ran out in her underwear and lost one slipper on the stair.
The prince was on it like a dart. He pressed it to his pounding heart. "The girl this slipper fits," he said. "Tomorrow morn shall be my bride. I'll visit every house in town until I've tracked the maiden down."
Then, rather carelessly, I fear, he placed it on a crate of beer. At once, one of the ugly sisters, the one whose face was blotched with blisters, sneaked up and grabbed the dainty shoe and pushed it down the loo. Then, in its place, she calmly put the slipper from the left foot. Ah, you see, the plot grows thicker, and Cindy's luck starts looking sicker.
Next day, the prince went charging down to knock on all the doors in town. In every house, the tension grew. Who was the owner of the shoe? The shoe was long and very wide. A normal foot got lost inside. Also, it smelt a wee bit icky. The owner's feet were hot and sticky. Thousands of eager people came to try it on, but all in vain. Now came the ugly sisters go. One tried it on. The prince screamed, "No!"
But she screamed, "Yes! Oh, you've got to kill me."
The prince went white from ear to ear. He muttered, "Let me out of here."
Oh, no, you don't. You made a vow. There's no way you can back out now.
"Off with her head!" the prince roared back. They chopped it off with one big whack. This pleased the prince. He smiled and said, "She's prettier without her head."
Then up came sister number 2, who yelled, "Now we'll try the shoe."
"Try this instead," the prince yelled back. He swung his trusty sword and smack. Her head went crushing to the ground. It bounced a bit and rolled around.
In the kitchen peeling spuds, Cinderella heard the thuds of bouncing heads upon the floor and poked her own head round the door. "What's all the racket?" she cried.
"Mind your own biz," the prince replied.
Poor Cindy's heart was torn to shreds. "My prince," she thought, "he chops off heads. How could I marry anyone who does this sort of thing for fun?"
The prince cried, "Who's this dirty slut? Off with her nut! Off with her nut!"
Just then, all in a blaze of light, the magic fairy hove in sight. Her magic wand went swoosh and swish. "Cindy," she cried, "come make a wish. Wish anything, and I have no doubt that I will make it come about."
Cindy answered, "Oh, kind fairy, this time I shall be more wary. No more princes, no more money. I have had my taste of honey. I'm wishing for a decent man. They're hard to find. Do you think you can?"
Within a minute, Cinderella was married to a lovely fella, a simple jam maker by trade, who sold good homemade marmalade. Their house was filled with smiles and laughter, and they were happy ever after. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next is Cafe Comedy by Robert William Service, performed by Arjun Chakraverti, Radhakrishnan Iyer, and myself, Gayathree Krishna. I'm waiting for the man I hope to wed. I've never seen him, that's the funny part. I promised I would wear a rose of red pinned on my coat above my fluttered heart so that he'd know me, a precaution wise. Because I wrote him I was 23. And oh, such heaps of silly lies. So when we meet, what will he think of me? It's funny, but it has its sorry side. I put an advert in the evening press. A lonely maiden fair would be a bride. Oh, it was shameless of me, I confess. But I'm 39 and in despair, wanting a home and children. Ere too late. And I forget I'm no more young and fair. I'll hide my rose and run. No, I'll wait. An hour has passed and I'm waiting still. I ought to feel relieved, but I am so sad. I would have liked to see him, just to thrill and sigh and say, there goes my lovely lad, my one romance. Ah, life's malign mishap. Garçon, a café crème. I'll stay till 9. The cafe's empty. Just an oldish chap who's sitting at the table next to mine.
I'm waiting for the girl I mean to wed. She was to come at 8. Now it's 9. She'd wear upon her coat a rose of red, and I would wear a marguerite in mine. No sign of her I see, it's through my eyes, need stronger glasses than the ones I wear. But oh, I feel my heart would recognize her face without the rose, she is so fair. Ah, what deceivers are we aging men! What vanity keeps youthful hope aglow! Poor girl, I sent her a photo taken when I was a student 20 years ago. Hers is so spring-like, oh so blossom-sweet. How she will shudder when she sees me now. I think I better hide that marguerite. How can I age in ugliness avow? She does not come. It is after 9 o'clock. What fools we fogies are! I'll try to laugh. Garçon, might bring me another bock. Falling in love just from a photograph. Well, that's the end. I'll go home and forget. Then realizing I am overripe, I'll throw away the silly cigarette and philosophically light my pipe.
The waiter brought the coffee and the beer, and there they sat, so woebegone a pair, and seemed to think, why do we linger here? When suddenly they turn to start and stare. She spied a marguerite. He glimpsed a rose. Their eyes were joined, and in a flash they knew. Ah, those sleepy waiters saw, when time to close, the sweet romance of those deceiving two, whose lips were joined, their hearts, and in future too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Little Red Riding Hood by Roald Dahl, featuring Gayathree Krishna, Tehzeeb Katari, and myself, Sarvesh Sridhar. As soon as Wolf began to feel that he would like a decent meal, he went and knocked on Grandma's door. When Grandma opened it, she saw the sharp white teeth, the horrid grin, and Wolfie said, "May I come in?"
Oh, Grandmama was terrified. He's going to eat me up, he cried. And she was absolutely right. He ate her up in one big bite.
But Grandmama was small and tough, and Wolfie wailed, "That's not enough. I haven't yet begun to feel like I've had a decent meal. He went around the kitchen yelping, I've got to have a second helping. Then added with a frightful leer, I'm therefore going to wait right here.
Little Miss Red Riding Hood comes home from walking in the wood. He quickly put on Grandma's clothes. Of course, he hadn't eaten those. He dressed himself in coat and hat, put on shoes, and after that, he even brushed and curled his hair, then sat himself in Grandma's chair.
In came the little girl in red. She stopped, she stared, and then she said, "What great big ears you have, Grandma!"
All the better to hear you with, the wolf replied.
"What great big eyes you have, Grandma!" said Little Red Riding Hood.
All the better to see you with, the wolf replied. He sat there watching her and smiled. He thought, I'm going to eat this child. Compared with her old grandmama, she's going to taste like caviar.
Then Little Red Riding Hood said, "But Grandma, what a lovely, great, big furry coat you have on!"
That's wrong, cried Wolf. Have you forgot to ask me what big teeth I've got? Ah, well, no matter what you say, I'm going to eat you anyway.
The small girl smiles. One eyelid flickers. She whips a pistol from her knickers. She aims it at the creature's head and bang, 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 she shoots him dead.
A few weeks later in the wood, I came across Miss Riding Hood. But what a thing! No cloak of red, no silly hood upon her head.
Hello, and do please note my lovely furry wolfskin coat.
Thank you.
Is While the Auto Waits by O. Henry. Characters played by Rohan Natarajan, Gayathree Krishna, Radhakrishnan Iyer, and myself, Manasa Pillai. Twilight, the quiet corner of a city park. A young woman in green sits alone on a bench, reading her book. A large hat over her face, a calm and unconscious beauty. When she turns a page, the book slips from her hand, and a young man who has been hovering nearby pounces upon it. He returns it to her with a gallant and hopeful air.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Nice weather we're having.
Yes, you may sit down if you like.
Are you sure? I wouldn't want to interrupt your reading.
Really, sit. The light is too bad for reading. I would prefer to talk.
Well, if you insist. You know, you're quite a stunning young woman. Actually had my eye on you since yesterday.
Yesterday? Whoever you are, you must remember that I am a lady.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Now, tell me about all these people passing and crowding each way along these paths. Where are they going? Why do they hurry so? Are they happy?
It is interesting to watch them, isn't it? The wonderful drama of life. Some going to dinner and some to other places. One can't help but wonder what their stories are.
Yes. How fascinating they seem to me, rushing about with their petty little dreams and common worries. I come here to sit because here only can I be near the great common throbbing heart of humanity. My part in life is cast where its beating is never felt. Your name?
Parkenstacker. And your name?
No, you would recognize it immediately. It is simply impossible to keep one's name out of the papers. My hat is my only protection, Mr. Parkenstacker. I'm talking to you because you are a natural man, a real man, one unspoiled by the despicable gloss of wealth and supposed social superiority. You have no idea how weary I am of it. Money, 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 and of the men who surround me dancing like little marionettes all cut from the same pattern. I am sick of pleasure, of jewels, of travel, of society, of luxuries of all kinds.
I always had the idea that money must be a good thing.
A competence is to be desired, certainly. But when you have so many millions that it is the monotony of it that palls. Drives, dinners, theatres, balls, suppers, balls, dinners, more balls, followed, of course, by dinners and suppers, with the gilding of superfluous wealth over it all. Sometimes the very tinkle of the eyes in my champagne glass nearly drives me mad.
You know, I've always liked to read up on the habits and customs of the wealthier class. I actually consider myself a bit of a connoisseur on the subject, but I like to have my information accurate. Now, I had formed the opinion that champagne was cooled in the bottle and not by placing ice in the glass. It's all quite fascinating, really. I've always wanted to participate in, or at least witness firsthand, the rituals of the elite.
We are drawn to that which we do not understand. For my part, I have always thought that if I should ever love a man, it would be one of lowly station, one who's a worker and not a drone. But doubtless the claims of caste and wealth will prove stronger than my inclination. Just now, I'm besieged by 2 wealthier suitors.
I don't know why you would bare your soul to a common man like me, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you confiding in me.
What is your line of business, if you don't mind my asking?
A very humble one, but I hope to rise in the world someday.
You have aspirations?
Of course. There's so much I want to do. I work in a restaurant.
Not as a waiter. Labor is noble, but personal attendance, valet and...
No, not a waiter. I'm a cashier in that restaurant over there.
That one? That one there? That one?
Yes.
But...
What is it? What's wrong?
I'm late for an important engagement.
An engagement?
Yes.
Some sort of ball or...
Yes.
Wait, will I see you again?
I do not know, perhaps. But the whim may not seize me again. I must go quickly now. There is a dinner and a box at the play. And oh, the same old round. Perhaps you noticed an automobile at the upper corner of the park as you came. One with the white body.
And red running gear?
Yes, I always come in that. Pierre waits for me there. He thinks I'm shopping in the department store across the square. What a life of bondage wherein we must deceive even our own chauffeurs. Good night.
Wait. It's getting dark and the park is full of questionable characters. Can't I at least walk you to your automobile?
I mean, no. If you have the slightest regard for my wishes, you will remain on this bench for 10 minutes after I have left. Again, good night.
Mary Jane Parker, what on earth are you doing here? Don't you know what time it is?
To whom are you speaking, madame?
To whom am I? To you. Who do you think you, Ninny?
Then I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Your shift started 15 minutes ago. Mr. Witherspoon is in a rage. This is the 3rd time this month you have been late. You'd better get yourself over there and into uniform before he cuts you loose for good. Go on now. I know you can't afford to miss a paycheck.
You must have me confused with someone else.
Confused with? Why, Mary Jane Parker? We've known each other for 3 years. We swap shifts. Have you been drinking? Why are you wearing that ridiculous hat?
I'm sorry, Mr. Parkenstacker.
Parkenstacker?
Yes, Parkenstacker.
As in the Parkenstackers from the society pages?
From the society pages?
If only I was so fortunate.
You must excuse me. My chauffeur is waiting.
Chauffeur? What kind of crazy airs are you putting on? You've never had a chauffeur in your life. You don't even own an automobile. You have been drinking. I'm going to tell your mother.
Oh, wait, you forgot.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes, Henry?
I don't mean to interrupt, your dinner reservation. Shall I cancel it?
No, I'm coming.
Very well, sir. The automobile is waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is The Eagle and the Beetle by Vikram Seth, performed by Ameera D'Costa and myself, Niloufer Seth. A beetle loved a certain hare and wandered with him everywhere. They went to fairs and feasts together, took walks in any kind of weather, talked of the future and the past, on sunny days or overcast.
One day, alas, an eagle flew above them, and before they knew what cloud had shadowed them, the hare hung from her talons in mid-air.
Please spare my friend, the beetle cried, but the eagle sneered with pride.
You puny, servile, cloddish bug, go off and hide your ugly mug. This hare's my snack. Have you not heard? I am the great god, Zeus's bird. Nothing can harm me, least of all a slow, pathetic, droning ball. Here, keep your friend's head. And she tore the hare's head off and swiftly bore his torso to her nest, ripped off his tail, and ate the rest.
The beetle stared at her friend's head and wished that she herself was dead. She swore that till her dying breath she would avenge his cruel death. Next day she slowly tracked the trail from drop of blood to tuft of tail, till high up on the mountain crest she found the huge unguarded nest. The beetle with her 6 short legs rolled out the mighty eagle's eggs. She left at once, but she could hear the eagle's scream of pain and fear. When later she returned and found the broken eggshells on the ground.
Next day the eagle moved her nest 10 miles or more towards the west.
But still the beetle's scrutiny followed her from flight from rock to tree. When finally the eagle laid another clutch, the beetle made straight for the nest in which they lay. And when the bird was hunting prey, with much fatigue but little sound, rolled the great eggs onto the ground.
When this had gone on for a year, the eagle, crazed with rage and fear, would turn back screeching in midair whenever she would sight a hare. For weeks on end she scarcely slept. She laid her eggs in grief and wept. At last she cried, "What is the use of bearing your protection, Zeus, when that small evil clot of mud has massacred my flesh and blood? King of the gods, where may I rest? Where may I safely build my nest? Where lie my eggs without mishap?" "Here," said the god, "here, in my lap." And so the eggs lay more secure than they had ever lain before.
So thought the eagle, till one day the beetle saw them where they lay, and aiming with precision, flung the microscopic ball of dung into the lap of mighty Zeus, who rising spewed venom and divine abuse, and shaking dirt from off his legs, unthinkingly tipped out the eggs.
Past hope, the eagle pined away and died of grief, and to this day they say that eagles will not nest in months when beetles fly their best.
But others, not so superstitious, merely assert that fate's capricious, and that the strong who crush the weak may not be shown the other cheek. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello there. Up next, we have for you a play Outsourced by Alex Brown, performed by Shaan, Katari, Libby, and myself, Roshan Poncha. Be prepared for a whole new angle to outsourcing.
Paula, be a dear, would you, and find someone to represent me at dinner tonight?
Represent you at dinner tonight. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, please. And could you order in some dinner for us? Pad Thai would be nice. The special combination with extra chili.
But I thought you were going out for dinner with your husband.
That was the plan, yes. But I'm far too busy. Could you find someone else to do it?
Someone else? You can't be serious about that.
Well, I am. If I can find someone and pay them to walk my dog, then I can find someone to have dinner with my husband.
Very well. Do you have any preferences?
I'm fairly certain Jeffrey would prefer a woman.
So where do you suggest I find such a person?
Come on, Paula, work it out. There's a whole escort industry. Try the yellow pages, try the net, anything. Just find someone who can look classy and be there at 7:30. Don't settle for anything trashy. I won't have Jeffrey disappointed.
And the show afterwards? Is the escort required for that?
Well, obviously, I can't just dump Jeffrey in some restaurant and leave him all alone. I would never do that.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to go yourself?
Well, of course, I'd love to go. But there's just too much to get through. Something has to be outsourced.
Outsourced? It's your wedding anniversary.
I hadn't forgotten. I would never forget something so important. Anniversaries are significant.
Yes, correct. Can I assume you found a significant gift?
It's in the organizer, but it's just there's been a tension of priorities.
Tension of priorities.
Could you organize something, Paula, please? Would you mind? A nice tie, perhaps? Is it? How many years?
10.
10. There's a thing about gift. 1 year is paper, 2 years is something, yada yada. What's 10?
10 years is tin.
Tin. Tin cufflinks.
Jeffrey's shirts have button cuffs. If you want to give cufflinks, then you'll have to have a shirt tailored for him.
Very good. Let's do that then. A tailored shirt with tin cufflinks in a tin presentation box. So easy and so thoughtful.
There won't be time between now and dinner.
Oh, well, let's get a voucher for it then. Could you have an escort who can post me an executive summary, bullet points only, a good, snappy report, general impressions of the restaurant, highlights of the meal, especially the range of desserts, key topics of dinner conversation, and a single paragraph review of the show. Also, any notes on ongoing relationship issues that may need further discussion. And also, could you have Jeffrey's gift forwarded to me here to the office? Be very specific about that. The gift may not be retained by the escort.
Yes, very good. But do you want the client to have the complete anniversary experience, as in after the dinner and show, in the bedroom?
Well, I should, don't you think? I mean, if I didn't, he might,
Go looking for someone else?
Exactly. Or think that I don't love him. I mean, he may come to a point when he senses that key indicators in the relationship have not been actualized within the critical time frame.
And we can't have that, can we?
Absolutely not.
Will you be wanting an executive summary of the sex?
Oh, yes, please. That would be nice. Please specify a concentration on the subtleties of his foreplay, but no more than 1 minute.
1 minute of foreplay or 1 minute of report time?
1 minute of report time, obviously. It's my wedding anniversary after all.
I see. Should I get a satisfaction rating?
Absolutely.
Are you sure about this? About this complete scenario with all its current impacts and downstream implications for the general operational framework of the marriage going forward?
Yes. Oh no. You're not comfortable with this, are you? Would you be happier if, you became more involved?
No.
Well, you're just balking at the idea of outsourcing. I just thought that, since you're a bit uneasy, that you might prefer to keep it in-house.
Definitely no. So I'm to go ahead?
Yes. No. Wait,
There's a doubt.
just a bit.
Yes.
Well, make sure there's a card with the gift from me.
Ah, of course.
No, signed by me personally. If you bring the card in here, I will personally sign it.
Will you be wanting to handwrite the message of endearment yourself?
Oh, yes, why not? There should be time, and I wouldn't want Jeffrey to feel,
Most thoughtful. I'll schedule it. Catherine Landy's office. This is Paula. Very well. I'll see that she gets the message. That was Jeffrey's office. He's held up, but says not to worry. Apparently, he's going to make sure there's someone there for you at dinner.
Sorry, what was it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, A Horse and Two Goats by R.K. Narayan, performed by Tehzeeb Katari, Arjun Chakraverti, Radhakrishnan Iyer, Rohan Natarajan, and myself, Saswati Mukherjee.
Of the thousands of villages in India, Pritham was probably the tiniest. Muni's was the last house in the 4th Street. From the 40 goats, his flock had come down to 2.
Ayo, Ninga Vande, if you are satisfied with drumstick leaves mattuna, now and I can boil and salt some for you.
I'm tired of eating those leaves. I have a craving to chew drumsticks, I tell you.
உங்க வந்து நாலு teeth you just have 4 teeth only. But சரி, okay. நீங்க first you go and get all the stuff for the sauce and I will satisfy your cravings. பாருங்க, டாலும், ரைஸும், mustard leaf-உம், அப்புறம் ஒரு large potato. போங்க, போயிட்டு, go get all this stuff.
Muni walked to the shop. He kept clearing his throat and sneezing till the shopman demanded,
You will fly off your seat if you sneeze so hard, young man.
Muni laughed at being called young man. The shopman softened and said,
You have enough of the imp inside to keep a second wife busy.
Muni laughed at this joke. The shopman liked his sense of humor to be appreciated. Muni discussed local gossip for a while, which always ended with a reference to the postman's wife, who had eloped to the city.
If you could find 5 rupees, you would pay off an ancient debt.
ஐயோ, அடுத்த மாசம் குடுக்குறேம்மா. என் பொண்ணு காசு அனுப்புது.
You have a daughter, and she is sending you money. For what purpose, may I know?
Birthday.
Birthday. How old are you?
50.
50, more like 70. You also forget that you mentioned a birthday weeks ago when you wanted castor oil. for your holy bath.
ஏம்மா என் பொண்டாட்டி அவன் உண்மை கொடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாம்மா.
ஐயோ அப்போ போங்க, the drumstick sell பண்ணீங்க. போங்க நீங்க. You are not getting anything today. Fast till the evening. இப்போ take the goats and be gone. கேளுங்க, don't come back till the sun is down.
He knew that if he obeyed her, she would somehow conjure up some food for him. Muni started out, uttering weird cries to urge him.
The shopman said that he was 70. When he was dead, what would his wife do? He noticed a new sort of vehicle when it sputtered and stopped in front of him.
The red-faced foreigner got down and went around it, stooping and poking under the vehicle. Then he approached Muni.
Excuse me, is there a gas station nearby?
He looked up at the clay horse and cried,
Marvelous!
Muni felt he should run away, but he could not readily put his limbs into action. The red-faced man was evidently a policeman. Muni said to himself,
He will chase me if I start running. Sometimes dogs chase only those who are running. Yo, kadavule, kaapathupa.
The foreigner pressed his palms together and said,
Namaste, how do you do?
at which Muni spoke the only English he had learned.
Yes, no.
Having exhausted his English vocabulary, he started in Tamil.
என் பேரு முனி. இது ஆடெல்லாம் என்னதான் நம்மளுதான்.
Do you smoke?
No, yes.
The red-faced man took a cigarette and gave it to Muni. He offered him a light.
Muni felt so confused that he blew on the light and lit out.
The other, puzzled, flourished his lighter again and lit Muni's cigarette.
Muni drew a deep puff and started puffing a strong American cigarette.
I come from New York.
Oh, kadavule, I tell you, sir, we know nothing about murder.
A body had been found under a tamarind tree between Kritham and Kuppam.
I promise you, we will hold him if we see any bad character, okay?
Please, please, I will speak slowly. Can't you understand a word of English? You see, last August, when I was in the office, we had a power failure. I was stuck for hours. When I reached home, I told my wife, Ruth, we will visit India this winter. So here we are. Ruth is in Srinagar, and I'll be joining her later.
Muni said, rather feebly,
no.
And then went on in Tamil.
இது கேளுப்பா, நான் தம்மாத்தோடு இருக்கும்போது என் மாமா சொல்லிக்கிட்டு.
How old are you?
The old man forgot what he had started to say and remarked,
Sometimes we lose cattle to jackal, cheetah. Sometimes it's just theft. Our priest can see in camphor flame the face of the thief. And when he's caught, no.
He gestured with his hands a perfect mincing of meat. The foreigner watched his hands and said,
Maybe you want to chop wood? Hand me your axe and show me what to chop. We get a lot of driftwood in my house, and on Sundays, I chop wood for the fireplace. Is there no one here, no one at all to translate for me? Isn't this statue yours?
Muni now understood the reference to the horse and said,
நான் தமத்தோடு இருக்கும்போது எங்க தாத்தா இந்த குதிரையை பத்தி சொன்னாரு. எங்க தாத்தா தமத்தோடு இருக்கும்போது அவங்க தாத்தா குதிரையை பத்தி சொன்னாரு.
I'll offer you a good price for it.
He had concluded that Muni owned this mud horse.
Muni followed the man's eyes.
You don't have to waste your breath on sales talk.
I never went to school. In those days, only Brahmins went to school. We had to work in the fields. We had a postman who could speak your language. But his wife ran away with someone. He does not speak to anyone at all. Now, who would if a wife did what she did? Women must be watched, okay?
Such a marvelous combination of maroon and green, even though it's faded now. Oh.
Muni, assured that the subject was still the horse, said,
Idu namma daivamma. At the end of Kali Yuga, this horse will come to life and trample all bad men.
I assure you, it will have the best home in the USA. I'm gonna keep it right in the middle of the room.
The oceans will close over the earth in a huge wave. The horse will grow big and carry on its back the good people and kick into the flood all the evil people, okay? Do you know when this will happen?
How am I transporting it? Well, I have a station wagon here. I can push the seat back and take the horse in.
Do you know Mahabharata? Huh? Krishna, 8 avatar of Vishnu.
I really wonder what you're saying.
Oh, I hope God blessed you with numerous progeny. You seem to be a good man, willing to stay and talk to old man. Amma, unge evlo koyindinga?
Realizing that a question was being asked, the red man replied,
I said 100. Here, this is what I mean.
The old man peered at a currency note. What was this man flourishing the note for?
Our village headman, who is also a money lender, he can change even 1 lakh of rupee.
The foreigner decided to show an interest in that man's pet. He went up to them and stroked their backs.
Now the truth dawned on Muni. His dream of a lifetime was about to be realized. The man was making an offer for the goats.
The old man pointed at the station wagon and asked,
Amma, and the one delay.
Yes, of course.
Carry them off after I get out of sight. Otherwise, they will never follow you. Only me. Even if I'm traveling to Yamaloka.
He laughed at his own joke, brought his palms together, and went off.
The red man ruminated.
Must have gone to get some help, I suppose.
He settled down to wait. When a truck came downhill, he got a couple of men to detach the horse and then help him to start his engine.
Muni hurried homewards with the cash securely tucked away in his dhoti. He stole up softly to his...
Come inga parma, evlo kaasu vandiri parma.
Ayyo, kurunga. Let me count it. 100 rupees, Hey, how did you come by it?
I have sold all our goats to Red-Faced Man. He was absolutely crazy to have them. He gave me this money and carried them off in his motor car.
Hardly had these words left his lips when they heard a bleating outside. She opened the door. Goats at her door.
Thank you.
And for the final presentation today, ladies, we have Three Little Pigs by Roald Dahl, performed by myself, Sarvesh Sridhar. The animal I really dig above all others is the pig. Pigs are noble, pigs are clever, pigs are courteous, however. Now and then, to break this rule, one meets a pig who is a fool. What, for example, would you say if strolling through the woods one day, right there in front of you, you saw a pig who'd built his house of straw? The wolf who saw this licked his lips and said, "That pig has had his chips. Little pig, let me come in. No, by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." The little pig began to pray, but Wolfie blew his house away. He shouted, "Bacon, token, ham! Oh, what a lucky wolf I am!" And though he ate the pig quite fast, he carefully saved the tail till last. Wolf wandered on, a trifle bloated. Surprise, surprise, for soon he noted another little house for pigs. And this one had been built on twigs. Little pig, come in. No, no, by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. The wolf said, "Okay, here we go." He then began to blow and blow. The little pig began to squeal. He cried, "Oh, wolf, you've had one meal. Can't we talk and make a deal?" The wolf replied, "Not on your Nelly." And soon the pig was in his belly. "Two juicy little pigs," the wolf cried. "But still I'm not quite satisfied. I know how full my tummy's bulging, but oh, how I adore indulging." So creeping quietly as a mouse, the wolf approached another house, a house which also had inside a little piggy trying to hide. "You'll not get me," the piggy cried. "I'll blow you down," the wolf replied. "You'll need," pig said, "a lot of puff, and I don't think you've got enough." Wolf huffed and puffed and blew. The house stayed up as good as new. "If I can't blow it down," Wolf said, "I'll have to blow it up instead. I'll come back in the dead of night and blow it up with dynamite." Pig cried, "You brute, I might have known." Then picking up the telephone, he dialed as quickly as he could the number of Red Riding Hood. "Hello," she said. "Who's speaking, who?" "Oh, hello, Piggy. How do you do?" Pig cried, "I need your help, Miss Riding Hood. Oh, help me, please. Do you think you could?" "I'll try, of course," Miss Hood replied. "What's on your mind?" "A wolf," Pig cried. "I know you've dealt with those before, and now I have one at my door." "My darling Pig," she said, "my sweet, that's something really up my street. I've just begun to wash my hair, but when it's dry, I'll be right there." A short while later, through the wood, came striding brave Miss Riding Hood. The wolf stood there, his eyes ablaze and yellowish like mayonnaise. His teeth were sharp, his gums were raw, and spit was dripping from his jaw. Once more the maiden's eyelid flickers. She draws a pistol from her niggers. Once more she hits the vital spot and kills him with a single shot. Pig peeping from the window stood and cried, "Well done, Miss Riding Hood." Piglet, you must never trust young ladies from the upper crust. For now Miss Riding Hood one notes not only has two wolfskin coats, but when she goes from place to place, she has a pigskin traveling case. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was a Madras Players production, compiled and co-directed by Tehzeeb Katari and Shaan Katari. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we'd like to introduce our wonderful cast in alphabetical order. Ameera D'Costa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Arjun Chakraverti.
Thank you.
Hang on, Arjun.
Arjun.
Thank you.
Gayathree Krishna. Gayathree Krishna.
Thank you.
Manasa Pillai.
Thank you.
Niloufer Seth.
Thank you.
Radhakrishnan Iyer. Rohan Natarajan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Roshan Poncha.
Thank you.
And Sarvesh Sridhar.
Thank you.
And Saswati Mukherjee.
Thank you.
And now I think we would like to hand over to the Duchess Club, please.
Before we hand over to the Duchess Club, I'd like to introduce and thank our directors, Tehzeeb Katari and Shaan Libby. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a big hand.
Very much.
Thank you, Radha.
One thing for sure is I'm sure nobody at the Duchess Club is going to outsource, right? Definitely are not. It's too dangerous. Well, that was such an engaging and entertaining performance by the Madras players. I think this calls for another round of applause for all of them, each and every one of them. The acts were humorous and did give us some food for thought, and we all at the Duchess Club enjoyed every moment of it. A grateful thanks to the entire cast, all those friendly, familiar faces. Thank you so much. You guys were truly brilliant. And what a way to end your act today with Sarvesh. Wow, it was really terrific. Thank you so much. A big thank you to the directors, Tehzeeb Katari and Shaan Libby, for coordinating and giving us and getting this act together this evening. And I must say, this was a delightful and enjoyable evening for all of us. I think we deserved it, and thank you so much, Madras players, for making it happen today. And to all your members out there, thank you for being physically present here. And some of you who are virtually out there, thank you for attending the meeting today. And to Savera Hotel, thank you for the delicious tea. I think we were just eating and eating, right, today, like we've not seen food. And for all the arrangements made for today. And we'll meet again next month. I think there's another meeting on the 31st. We're doing it along with the Inner Wheel of Chennai. So that'll be a joint meeting. And that's it. And thank you to the technical team of Savera for getting us through. And thank you all once again. Good evening.
Thank you.